Hello and welcome back to Universal Laws with Kristy Sturdivant. We are talking about the law of action this month. And I wanted to talk a little bit today about a concept that is kind of discussed a lot in my house called the no action action, which we talk about and use in order to build momentum. And momentum is a very obviously scientific and real concept, right? Of where action can kind of build up momentum so you can take off and you can start making those quantum leaps. But sometimes it is very difficult to have these, take inspired action, right? Like I think one of the biggest issues with the law of action and attraction, which is the buddy law to this law, is that sometimes we get a little bit frozen or stagnant because we are taking actions that are not necessarily helping us gain momentum or move us to our goals, or we are unsure like which action to take, or there's a lot of reasons, right? So I talk about this often with my husband when we are talking about different situations, and we are like, okay, what are the no action items that you can take? And so the no action actions are actions that will set you up energetically, but they don't really have any big consequences, and they give you this sense of what the next step could be. And it gives you this chance to really like feel into your body and listen to your inner authority. And when you are presented something, think, does this feel good? Or sounds not so great. That's very manifesting generator if you're looking at this from human design. But I think it's also something that you can use for any aura type, because no action items are like I said, they're like very low consequence, but we are trying to get ourselves energetically aligned in the right direction to where we want to go, so that when we start taking actions, we are building up momentum and taking off. Okay, so what does a no action look like? I got to come up with a better term for this, but for now, it's no action. So let's look in the case of a new job or a career switch, right? A lot of times when we are working in a job or in an industry or something, and we do it for a while and it no longer feels aligned. Maybe you're in the right industry, but maybe you're in the wrong company, or you're just feeling like blah, and you're like, oh, I really want to make a switch. This is what I really want to do, but it's big and scary and I'm not exactly sure what to take. Your no action actions for this particular thing would be to go onto your LinkedIn profile and maybe set your little toggle to open to new positions or whatever it's called, right? Like so that people and recruiters can start reaching out to you and networking. Maybe your no action is updating your resume. Maybe it's going and having a friend look over it or doing whatever. Maybe it's kind of just hopping on to different companies that look kind of interesting and seeing what job opportunities are available out there and then applying for them, right? Because you already have a job in this current situation, this hypothetical situation. You have a job and you are just kind of like saying, this looks really interesting. I'm just going to go ahead and apply for it and see what happens. Because in the grand scheme of things, like nothing is really going to happen. You don't have to accept anything. You don't have to make any major life choices. You're just going out there and you're taking these small energetic moves in a lot of very different directions in order to kind of see what feels good to you, right? So this is a really good way if you are wanting to kind of jump careers, maybe start your own business. Maybe that's what you do, right? Like you make a list of what you want to do, what you don't want to do, start exploring courses out there, maybe watch some YouTube videos. These are very low consequence actions that just kind of start building up energetic momentum, which is always what we want, right? Momentum is like right there with the law of action. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, so let's think about relationships, right? This is a big one. People are, wanting to find their soulmate, whatever. Maybe they are just kind of like out there wanting to date or whatever. If you are in this current situation, you could always open up a profile on a dating app. Not really necessarily to do anything unless you are ready, but maybe you are just kind of seeing what's out there or seeing what kind of people are in your area that you might be having interests with. Maybe you go out and join up some of, well, back in the day, they were called meetups, but you can always find groups that go on hikes or at gyms. Maybe you are just putting yourself out there a little bit more. Maybe you don't even want to do that because you're not quite ready for that move yet. But if you are looking for a person to, have a relationship with, maybe you do something like clean out your closet in your bedroom and put all of your stuff on one side and clear a space for them so that energetically they have space to move in. Maybe instead of sleeping in the middle of the bed, you start sleeping on one side of the bed so your future partner can sleep on the other side. Maybe if you are have like a set of dishes that are just, one set of dishes just for you. Maybe you buy another set. It's just little things like this that have no like real big consequence, but they are energetically telling the universe and shifting your frequency, saying, I'm ready for someone to come into my life to share my life with. Small steps, big momentum builders, okay? Another one, I heard a story recently where somebody had a client, and this client really wanted to move to Hawaii. And so every Sunday, he would get up, he would get dressed, he would pack his carry-on bag, he would drive to the airport, park the airport, take his carry-on bag in there, and then go into the ticket counter and just stand there and kind of look at the board. And he would just like really feel like he was getting ready to go on a trip to Hawaii. And he would sit there and he would like feel that sensation for a couple of minutes. And then he would be like, okay, that's good. And then he'd grab his bag and then he'd leave and he'd go to the coffee shop. And he did this like clockwork, like every single week. He was like going to Hawaii, and then he would stop and, and he would go and get a coffee. Well, a couple months later, he had a friend who he hadn't talked to for a while, and they said, hey, guess what? I live in Hawaii now and I need someone to come down here and, watch my house for a couple of months while I'm gone. Can you do it? And he said, yes, absolutely, I can do it. And so he went and he packed up his bags and made his trek to the airport, went down to Hawaii, and then loved it so much he decided to move down there permanently, never came back. So it's putting yourself in these situations where you are even not, these were no action items, right? He literally just got himself energetically aligned for what he wanted, and then it came to him. Now, I don't know if this happens a lot. I think it happens a lot more than we think. We just are not super we don't notice these things as often as we probably should, but it's probably happening a lot more than you think. But if you are having trouble feeling like you know what action to take, or you're having I don't know what an inspired action is for this next move, start looking around and seeing what you can do to take those no action items. Maybe it's learning a new skill. Maybe it's watching some YouTube videos. Maybe it's, just talking to someone that you wouldn't normally talk to, or reaching out to someone and just asking them a question over coffee or something. Just kind of think of it from a different point of view, because it can be very scary when we are talking about making big moves in our life where we're just ooh, what do I do? I'm not sure what my next move is. But these are really nice, easy things for you to do. and then kind of feel in your body how that feels. Oh, this person, wants to take me out to dinner. How does that feel? Am I ready for this? How does that feel in my body? Is this a yes or is this a no? Is this something that I need to uncover and work through in my nervous system? And then do I feel okay about this? Like, there's so many things you can do, but you can't do anything unless you take action, which is kind of like, I think, the biggest hiccup when we are thinking about co-creating our lives with the universe is we got to step up and we got to make the moves too. The universe isn't just going to drop things in our lap. It expects us to, make moves to what we want, right? That's part of the law of compensation and the energetic exchange. It's like all of these laws combined, and it's a beautiful thing, but we got to take some kind of action, even if it's just like energetically getting ourselves mentally ready. So that is what I have for you guys today. The concept of no action actions, I think that they are super, super helpful for us to start building that momentum that we want in order to get us where we want to go. And that's what I have for you today. I'll talk to you later. Bye.